Let's go to the phone, sneak a call in. We'll start with Michael, Charlotte, North Carolina. Great to have you on the program, sir. Hello.
Thanks, sir. How are you doing?
Very well. Great to have you with us.
So I'm 27 years old. I need a little wisdom from you. How does the current situation going on right now, how does that compare to Watergate? Because I wasn't around during the 70s.
Well, if Trump is right, and if Obama or an agent has actively been surveilling and wiretapping the Republican presidential candidate, that makes Romper Room, or Watergate, look like Romper Room. It would be the culmination times 5 of what Nixon was anticipating or hoping to do in Watergate. Watergate was Nixon was penalized for what they thought he wanted to do. It's not for what actually had happened. Watergate was all about the cover-up of it and what that presented as a problem for Nixon. If this actually happened, it dwarfs Watergate. And I'm not just saying that for, partisan political purposes or what have you. That's just a genuine assessment. This is really, really big. Presidents cannot do this. You don't get to surveil your political opponents like this under the guise that they're committing crimes and so forth. You just that's if there's ever evidence that would support this, then Watergate leaves the lexicon and ObamaGate replaces it, if it's ever established and proven. By the way, Thomas Friedman was on Meet the Press yesterday. You hear what he said? He said, well, there's no evidence for this Russian hack. None. That's why we need an independent counsel. So, seriousness of the charge, far more important than the nature of the evidence. They don't have any. It's much more reasonable to think Trump's right than these people are. Okay, now, he asked a question about Watergate, and he wasn't alive living through it, and I just had a couple of minutes. So let me expand on the answer to our previous caller. What Nixon and Watergate was originally trying to do was find out where all the leaks were coming from. Sound familiar? The plumbers were supposed to find out where the leaks were coming from, but it was their idea to try to find out by tapping the DNC phones, which they failed to do, by the way. Nixon didn't know. Nixon was just accused of trying to tap the DNC in Watergate, but it turned out in reality he didn't know anything about it ever. It was the cover-up that did him in. It was the plumbers that were doing it. They thought they were doing it to please the president, and they thought they were doing it. They snuck into the DNC headquarters, which were in the Watergate office complex and residential towers. They even left evidence of their first visit. They left masking tape or electrical tape on the locks so the doors would not lock when they shut, so that they could get back in. It was a bumbling bunch of Keystone cops, and it's curious because these guys were not Keystone cops in reality. So Nixon was just trying to find out where the leaks were coming from, but he didn't know about it. When the cover-up began, that's when Watergate began to unravel, because then that produced tapes and a bunch of other evidence of Nixon's basic personality toward Democrats, his suspicions, and what others had been doing on his behalf. But I'll share something with you. My dad, who just Watergate infuriated him until his last dying day. My dad would, if anybody ever brought up Watergate, what did he do? What did Nixon? You tell me. So some 18-year-old friend of mine would come on. You tell me, what did Nixon do? I don't know, Mr. Limbaugh. I really. That's right, because they didn't do anything. My dad believed it was a hatchet job from the get-go. Now, it wasn't just that. I mean, there were some questionable things, but Nixon didn't know of it. The question was, how does this rate against Watergate? If Trump is right, and if Obama ordered this, and there was surveillance of Trump during the campaign, Nixon never did anything like that. may have wanted to. He was trying to plug leaks. Nixon at the time, by the way, was running away in the polls. He had a double-digit lead. He was going to go on to win the election in a landslide. Nobody can understand the paranoia.